Hello, sports fans. I'd like to welcome everyone to another edition of Sports Memo's College Football Forecast. I'm your host, world champion handicapper, Las Vegas's biggest daily sports bettor, Joe D'Amico. Now, guys, you're going to receive a ton of free winners from some of Sports Memo's documented winning cappers. Providing today's winners are Mr. Jesse Schule, Mr. Ronald Cabang, and myself, Joe D'Amico. During the show, you're going to see a discount offer scroll across that bottom of your screen. There goes that sucker now, guys. Take advantage of those discounts. My friends, this is an amazing discount Sports Memo has tailor-made for this show just for you. For any capper on the show, we have a huge offer, 3 days all access, just for the price of 1 day. That's for Joe D'Amico, Jesse Schule, Ronald Cabang. Heck, at this rate, you can get all three of us and win big. Use code FORECAST39 upon checkout. The offer is good through Sunday at the early games in the NFL. And guys, if you like what you hear, like and follow Sports Memo YouTube channel and our Twitter pages. Let's say hi to everybody today. Hi, Ronald. Hi, Jesse. How's everybody today?
Hanging in there.
Doing well, man.
That's great. Now, guys, we're going to go right into some college football winners. And I have, midway through the show, of some line movement information from my friends over to Superbook at the Westgate. And these are very interesting this week because there's a lot of guys that have opted out on these college games, on these college teams that have opted out to go to the pros, guys. So some lines have moved big, so you want to stay tuned in for that. Let's go right into our first college football winner. He is the one and only, the body, Mr. Jesse Schule. Jesse, what you got going on for our people today?
I'm looking at Northern Illinois out of the MAC against Coastal Carolina out of the Sun Belt. Coastal Carolina will be a double-digit favorite in this game, and there's a good reason for that. I believe they are the better team. I believe Coastal Carolina, you could make a good argument to say that they're the best team out of the Sun Belt. Unfortunately for them, they did lose twice during the regular season, and they did not win the Sun Belt Championship this year. And I think that might make them more motivated here to have a positive showing in their bowl game to prove they're still relevant. They did finish first in the Sun Belt in total defense, allowing just 325 yards per game. And I think it's going to be tough sledding for this Northern Illinois offense that relies heavily on its running game. And they had success in the MAC. They ended up winning the MAC after going winless last year. But they don't play too much defense in the MAC. So, running all over those MAC teams, playing a much better Sun Belt team, I expect the running game to stall out. Then they're going to have to turn the ball over to Rocky Lombardi at quarterback. He's not the most talented signal caller in the nation. And that Coastal Carolina defense should have some success. It's a big total, 63. I'm looking for it to finish just under the total of 63.
There you go. Sports fans, Jesse Schule says go under 63, NIU and CC. My friends, Jesse is doing some amazing work over at Sports Memo. I want him to tell you why you need to go over there right now, take advantage of his premium plays. Jesse.
I guess the big news last weekend is I was 5-0 on Sunday, swept the board with my NFL picks. I had a bunch of player props that all hit, of course. And you can get some player props for tonight's game on Thursday Night Football right now. I'll give you a quick little teaser. The analysis for all my NFL picks for tonight's game starts with, what do the Jaguars, the Jets, and the Lions all have in common? They all are better at defending the run than the Chargers. I bet you guys didn't know that. So you're going to want to get those picks to find out why.
There you go. Jesse Schule, go over to the Sports Memo, guys, after the show ends. Use that discount, 3 days for the price of one. Use code FORECAST39. Get Jesse's big premium winners. I will tell you, he is on the leaderboard in multiple sports right now, kicking butt and taking names. Speaking of kicking butt and taking names, another leaderboard fixture. He's one of my favorite people in the world, let alone in this business. He's going to tell you his first college football winner. Let's bring him on, Mr. Ronald Cabang. Ronald.
Yes, sir. So I'm looking at this Eastern Michigan versus Liberty game. Liberty was 7-5 this season, and ended the season sort of on a disappointing note, losing 3 straight. Eastern Michigan, they were also 7-5 this season, but I think there was some higher expectations from the Liberty team after the great 2020 season they had. Liberty has a balanced offensive attack. They're just as good at passing the ball as they are rushing. They're 77th in the nation in passing yards per game, and 78th in rushing yards per game. Their issue really is just pretty much untimely penalties and turnovers in the games that they played this season. Eastern Michigan relies more in the passing game than they do the run, which might be a problem since Liberty is 23rd in the nation in passing yards allowed, giving up just 174.2 passing yards per game. Because of their pass defense and balanced offensive attack, I think Liberty finishes the season on a high note and gets the win by double digits.
There you go. Mr. Ronald Cabang says take Liberty -9.5. They're going to win big. Guys, I see Ronald's name all over the leaderboards over at Sports Memo, and I could brag about him. But Pete Rose said, I ain't bragging if you can back it up. And one guy that can back it up is Ronald Cabang. I'm going to bring him back on to tell you why you need to follow him with that big discount this weekend. Ronald, what's going on?
Yeah, so over at Sports Memo, I mean, I'm positive. I'm in the profitable side on most of the major sports, both football and basketball, including college. But my big one is the NBA. Like I was number one last season in the NBA. And so far, the last 30 days, I'm number one again in the NBA, upwards to, I think it's close to 40 units in the last 30 days in the NBA. So definitely take advantage of that all sports package.
There you go. Guys, go over to Sports Memo right after the show. Follow Ronald. He's a winner, and you will be too if you follow him. I want to talk about my free game. Stuck out to me right away, and I love it, sports fans. BYU does not stand for bring your own. I'll tell you that. My friends, BYU is a very good team. They have faced and beaten quite a few other good teams in 2021. And with all respect to UAB, they really only stepped up once this season. You know what happened? Resulted in a 56-7 beating at the hands of Georgia. For starters, there's the potent 1-2 punch of 2,500-yard passer Jaron Hall and 1,400-yard rusher Tyler Algier. Then there's the fact that the team is going to come out firing on all cylinders, folks. Because why? Because their head coach, the very well-liked Kalani Sitake, I love his name. Kalani Sitake just signed a long-term contract, and the team is very excited about having him there at least through 2027. My friends, then there's the elephant in the room. The coaching staff of the team will go out of their way to prove to pollsters that they deserved a New Year's Eve bowl. They're a little pissed off, and they're going to take it out on UAB here, guys. Guys, don't forget, this is a team that went 5-0 against Pac-12 opponents this season. They're also 7-2 against the spread the last 9 games played against Conference USA opponents. Take BYU, lay the points. It's a winner. Sports fans, I'm going to tell you why you need to use that discount. Go over to Sports Memo right now to follow Joe D. After another big week of big game winners in football documented this football season between college and pros, my big game releases, 47-13. Those are games a month or high-rated 5 or 10 unit plays, guys. I am on fire in my big games. The best big game hunter on the planet will help you stalk, hunt, and kill your bookmaker this weekend. Also, very excited about this. Documented as the most successful and claimed bowl season capper ever. This will be my best bowl season yet. The last 3 years, let me tell you how I started bowl season: 11-0, 15-2, and 14-3. Guys, there's a great bowl discount too over at Sports Memo for me, also for Ronald and Jesse. Take advantage of that. I'd like to bring everybody on while I do the line picks, the line movement segment. Sports fans, I go over and I speak to some dear friends of mine over at the Superbook at the Westgate, my favorite book to watch a game or to bet a game here in town. Whether you're visiting Vegas or you live here, go over to Superbook at the Westgate. It is an amazing book. And I spoke to some guys over there. They told me about some line movements. I want to tell you about them, guys. Let's get into them. I love the way we do this. 3 lines moved very drastically, and I want to tell you why. My friends over at the Superbook at the Westgate want me to tell you it's because a lot of the players that are on these teams taking part in the bowl games are preparing for the draft. They're opting out, guys. In the pros, and we'll talk about that in the pro segment, a lot of COVID protocols happening there, a lot of line moves. We'll talk about that in the NFL segment. But right now, there's 3 major line movements my friends at the Superbook wanted me to tell you about. First of all, Central Florida opened up plus 7.5. They're down to 6. Memphis from 3.5 up to 7. They skipped a couple of hot numbers there, folks. Western Michigan from +1 to -6. Wowie. So I could just tell you, man, you got to do your due diligence when you're betting these bowl games. I know you want to bet them early. I get it. There's a big advantage. But 2 things you need to be aware of. Or I should say number 1, please understand that we're dealing with players and their coaches don't want them to announce that they might be stepping out maybe until before game time quicker. So be careful. Do your due diligence. And B, we're in a health conscious situation these days. and COVID protocols are going to kick in. So do your due diligence when you're looking at betting some of these games beforehand. Guys, we've got another round of free winners from some of Sports Memo's best, which means they're some of the best on the planet. Let's bring them in for a second free game. You call him Jesse Schule. I call him Jesse the Body, the one and only Jesse. Jesse, tell us what about your second free game winner, please.
Well, Joe, this next game is a prime example of what you just said. You got to be careful about getting in there too early because situations change so fast during bowl season. This New Mexico Bowl between Fresno State and their opponent, UTEP, is a lot of things have changed in this game. Of course, Fresno State lost their coach. Kalen DeBoer left for Washington. And the quarterback, Jake Haener, was going to follow him. He decided he was going to go to Washington. But the quarterback called an audible. Imagine that, a quarterback calling an audible. He learned that Jeff Tedford is going to return, a former Fresno State coach, coming back to lead the Bulldogs. He will not be the coach for the bowl game, but he is coming back next year. And Haener is going to stick around. Haener went through a little bit of adversity this week. The Fresno State fans weren't happy with him. Somebody hung a sheet from a goalpost saying Haener is a traitor. He's got something to prove here. And he's a complete stud, by the way. And there's no doubt Fresno State is the better team here. They did beat UCLA this year. They almost beat Oregon. A lot of people overlooked that game, the fact that they lost at Oregon in a game that they were leading in the fourth quarter. Oregon didn't actually take the lead in that game until the final 2 minutes of the game. Fresno State, probably the best team in the Mountain West. I think they're going to have a lot to prove here, and with their quarterback, they should be a good bet, minus 11.5.
There you go. Mr. Jesse Schultz, just take Fresno State minus the 11.5. He said he's not afraid to lay that wood, and neither should you if you follow him. Guys, we have more free winners from you. We're going to bring him on. He's on multiple leaderboards over at Sportsmemo right now. The one and only Ronald Cabang. He's got another free winner for you in college football. Ronald.
Yeah, looking at this Oregon State, Utah State game, both of these teams can definitely light it up. But I think this total might be a few points too high. Oregon State has gone over this total only 3 times this season. And the same with Utah State. They've only gone over this total 3 times. Oregon State, they rely on their run game. They average nearly 220 yards per game on the ground, and they're one of the best teams in the nation on third down as well. They convert over 50% of their third downs, and that's good for 11th in the nation. So they're good at extending drives, and they usually dominate time of possession in their games. Utah State's offense is primarily through the air. They are 24th in the nation in passing yards per game at 305.8 yards per game. Lots of yards, though. It doesn't always translate over to the total and hitting the overs. Utah State is actually 6-1 to the under the season when the total is set at 58 or higher. And with the total set here at 67.5, I think it's a good spot for this game to go under. The key really is for Utah State to limit any big runs by Oregon State. If that happens, I really feel like it's going to go under.
Okay, there you go. Ronald Cabang saying under Oregon State, Utah State, under 67.5. Guys, he's on the leaderboard. Proof is in the pudding. That pudding is good. Take that under there, guys. I've got another free winner for everyone I'm excited about. I really am. I've loved this game. When I first looked at it, I couldn't believe it. I can't believe the number is still where it is. I want to talk about Utah State, sports fans. Don't get trapped into thinking that a mid-level Pac-12 team is 7.5 points better than a Mountain West champ. You know why? Because they're not. I'm not looking to take away anything from the 13th ranked rushing attack of the Beavers. They will move the chains on the ground. But being that they don't pass the ball with too much success, it makes it very easy for the Aggies and their very smart coaches there to figure them out offensively. Another but. Here's a but, and I love a big but, guys. But the real mismatch here is between the nation's 15th ranked passing unit of Utah State and the 87th ranked pass defense of Oregon State. My friends, quarterback Logan Bonner is a stud. 36 TDs, 3,500 yards passing. He and his talented quartet, he's got 4 amazing, outstanding receivers. He and his talented quartet of receivers will absolutely shred the Beavers secondary. No comments. The Aggies are red hot. They dropped just 1 game since mid-October, riding a 7-1 straight-up run, 6-1 ATS hot streak, their last 7. They've covered their last 3 in the underdog role, winning all 3 outright. I like Utah State straight up here. I do like them straight up. I'm playing them on the money line, but I'll take the 7.5 because gives me a big edge there, and you should take it too. Guys, they're going to win this game outright, but err on the side of caution. Take plus 7.5 Utah State. It is a winner. Now, sports fans, I'm going to bring everybody on board for this because this is really a fun part of the show. I'd like to run down everybody's games. By the way, I don't know how these young kids wear these hats to the back. It drives me. I thought I'd look cute and stuff and have a different look. By the way, Ronald, you know how many stores I had to go to find a hat where the peak went backwards? I couldn't find it. Anyway, it's a thinker, guys. Anyway, let me go over the games everyone gave out today. My dear friend Jesse Schule, he had under 63 in the NIU-CC matchup. He had Fresno State minus 11.5. That handsome and dapper Ronald Cabang, he had Liberty minus 9.5. He also had Oregon State, Utah State under 67.5. Your handsome hat backward wearing host, BYU minus 7, Utah State plus 7.5. We've got a couple of announcements. Sports fans, we would love it if you followed the Sports Memo YouTube channel. It's 100% free. Takes 2 seconds. Also, follow us on our Twitter page. Like, comment, share our posts. Let us know what you like. Let us know what you don't. We want to make you happy. We want to make sure you keep coming back because we want to keep giving you tons of free winners. Guys, also, that discount is amazing. 3-day all access just for the price of 1 day. That's for Joe, Jesse, or Ronald. Heck, at this rate, like I said earlier in the show, you can get all 3 of us for 3 days apiece, man. It pays for itself. Whether you're a $5 player, a $50 player, a $5 player, guys, this will pay for itself before the package ends. And trust me, you'll come back for a longer stay, maybe for one of us, maybe for all 3 of us. Let me do our announcements, guys. I want to thank Sports Memo, your one-stop shop for all your sports betting needs, our wonderful panel of experts. And most of all, I want to thank you, our viewers. Guys, don't go anywhere because right after this, you're going to see our NFL forecast show, which you're going to get a ton more free winners. Few laughs, too. On behalf of Sports Memo, Jesse Schule, Ronald Cabang, I'm Joe D'Amico. Good luck. Have a winning day.